Yeah, so guys, I think I did mention to you that so after all these years of waiting to go to school, the day arrived and I went on my own. So ek nog genoeg gewag, ek gaan nie nog wag nie. I ended up, the whole story of going and walking and going sitting in the class. I ended up being in Juffrouw Peterson. My sister was also in her class in grade one. And then because I was older, I was 2 years older, there was always the inspectors that come to the school and they evaluate you and all of it. And so there was a recommendation that they would you know, move you ahead, like one or two. And this one inspector just said no, they shouldn't do it because it will work sort of against me in the long run. Maybe it was the right decision, but I had an issue about it for many years that I went to school late and I was older than everybody else. But over the years, I'm actually grateful that it happened, that I was never moved on to the next class, because I became a lot more mature than sort of my fellow pupils because they were 2 years younger. But I was also I was a restless child. I mean, I could only stay for so long, like sit op my mat and alles die, and I need to go walk. And fortunately for us, we had this operetta that we did with Miss Fortuin, and I was one of the dwergies, and there were like bunnies and like birds and I don't know what else, and viertjies, and so that was fun. And so we were next to her class, and every time there was a new boy that would join, and she would ask me to come and like teach him sort of the basic steps of being a dwergie. And so I told you guys about me being, so my first year I was the reserve in the relay team. And so I went down the sports day, and so reserve means that you have to wait for somebody to get injured and then maybe you get run. But if you're already running and the person get injured, they're not going to stop the race and you're going to get an opportunity. And after that first year, I just decided there's no way I'm going to, another year, come sit here under the tent, eat and sing and be a cheerleader. I actually just made up my mind I'm not going to do this. And then the next year from there on, I think that's when my athletics career started. It was just first or second, nothing less, just those two. And and I think I did a lot of sports. I did a lot of sports in school, and it helped me in a big way. I mean, sports, I spoke about it the other day that I traveled. I mean, I took my first flight in a plane as a result of playing hockey for South African development team. I've been to Hilton College Michael House in Pietermaritzburg. I was so naive. I thought, Pietermaritzburg being in KZN. So I got on to the Michael House, the school roof, thinking that if I go to the top, you will be able to see Durban from there. And I'm not ashamed to say it. And the food was just incredible. I mean, these people were like, this is a school, and you eat like a 5-star hotel. So it just shows you, not being exposed or living in an underdeveloped sort of community, and all of a sudden you're getting all these opportunities. And I played rugby. I remember receiving a rugby shot from Nas Botha as a sort of a youngster with potential. And I played cricket. Every sport, everything that there was available, I played. And I think looking back at that, it was probably, and also, I mean, I did well in academics. It was also probably my way of trying to get recognition because it wasn't happening at home. So every time you do well in school or in sports, you got the recognition. And I, I sort of, you know, I knew that I could compete with everybody else because I mean, my competitiveness is still there, but not at the same level of intensity that it used to be. Because I just maybe there's also the fact that I started school late, that I had this in me. I spoke to you guys about this unpleasantness when I was in Standard 5, which is grade 7, with this one teacher, which I don't want to talk about. But also, I had like amazing people like Meneer Malan, who's no longer with us, who just acknowledged the fact that, I am I'm a busy child. Instead of he was the principal, instead of said to me, go back to class, I used to walk with him on the school grounds, and that you appreciate because this man saw that this child was different, and instead of focusing on that difference, he accommodated it. And I mean, I had good teachers like um, I remember Hami George said to me, don't forget for Ernest, for Sunny, Mr. Ataran Simpson, Mr. Coughlin, my own Uncle Sid Hendricks, Mrs. Magadi, meneer Levita en meneer Watton. They were all just amazing. Meneer Fortuin from Morris. All these teachers that were Mr. Alban, they all sort of really played such a influential role in my life. As I said to you guys before, teachers that were not even at my school that supported me. Mel Martin from Jacaranda still. Mr. Abbott's wife, Barbara Abbott, she was at PS and I was at Nantes supporting. Nolan Lates from also Jacaranda, Mr. Forbay, all these people that that are part of the community. And I think that was the beauty about then, way back then, that the teachers really were invested in the well-being of the kids. And remember, they were not paid extra to do this. It was just part of the community spirit and how we grew up at the time, compared to how things are now. I mean, yes, and also the respect for teachers, irrespective whether they are your teacher or not. You would not dare talk back or have a quarrel if you're in the street at a certain time. The teacher will tell you, go home, and you would do that. It never happened to me because I was always home. And we were, I don't know whether you guys know Danny Moses. So we were part of the Masada kids. And so Masada had all these like holiday sort of programs for kids, and which kept us out of the street and kept us busy. I mean, we used to go there every Friday as well to Masada. We did karate with Eddie Bates and his three ninja daughters, also at Masada. And yeah, I remember I used to play, we stayed in Kannaweg, and I used to play with all the kids in Braunberg. And then it was also the days where there was gangsters and Sterlings and the mafias and the Makaka boys and all of it. So we used to like dress up on a Sunday. We go and watch the fight. So there was no Netflix. We watched the gangsters fight, and that was the entertainment. And we used to like, the tunnels. We used to like walk in the tunnels with candles and yeah, yes, and played. I mean, where Craig and Marsha and them used to stay in, most of the, like the two rooms, there was no fences in between. So it was like just this big yard, and we used to play there. And yeah, I mean, it was Nantes was just this, like, everybody was like the same. So if one family, if there was a fight at one house, it was okay because it was the norm. Everybody fight. It was not like, hi, het jy gesien die netjie het gefight. Almal het drama gehad and everybody, I mean, they used to, people had skaal gedrink, homemade beer, and it was just, yeah, I mean, we used to buy, Fergus Maropen's dad, Umbeni, we buy stamps, and so that's for your clothing for Christmas. And Omvu, Ezra and Petunia's grandfather, that used to sell like meat, on the bookie. So you buy meat on the bookie, you buy vegetables on the bookie. Everything was on the bookie, and that's how we lived. And it's just this sense of, but there was never a day that you go to bed hungry in Nantes, because we used to live with one another. That was the essence and the importance of being neighborly. So yeah, next time we'll talk about my high school years, which was at Prosperitas, and yeah, it just flew by. I mean, the next thing I knew, I was already at varsity. But we'll talk about it in the next insert.